Oh, welcome everybody to Council Checkup. My name is Don Walmsley, your host, and with us today is our esteemed Deputy Mayor Brian Hedley, noted flugelhorn player and dominoes champion. I just made those last two up. This is our final session for the season. We will be breaking for the summer and back again in September. And so welcome, Brian.
Thank you very much, Don.
Good. Well, so you had council meeting last night?
Yes.
And so what sort of things came out of council meeting last night?
Well, probably the most exciting thing is Canada Day coming up here and the opportunity to for everybody to get together. After just having, both of us having spent the weekend at the Filipino Heritage Day there, you could see the excitement of people wanting to get past COVID and get out and enjoy.
Get out together.
Yeah.
So for Canada Day, roughly, what's planned for Canada Day?
Well, there is throughout the day. What is there? Bouncy castles. There's some bonfires. There'll be some music and that through the day. Evenings, of course, is the big fireworks, and so yeah, there's quite a large lineup of things that are, and of course it's on the town website and all the activities that are planned and that. But yeah, I can see it being the same as this past weekend. People just need to get out and start visiting and enjoying life again.
To that, because typically where we hold it is at Riverbend Park. What's Riverbend looking like since all the rain?
Well, we're hoping at this point that things will be dried up enough for that time. I guess we're kind of monitoring the weather.
Because a week ago, last Tuesday, I happened to be down in the pool area, and that was when we had another one of those rains, and it was flooded right the way to the little schoolhouse. I mean, it was...
Yeah, we at work we kind of monitor it to the west of our admin building. There's if we have lakefront property, we know that it's rains fairly substantial there. So, and we've had a lot of lakefront property this year.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's a wet spot. But
so, is there anything the town can do, like to augment the drying, or you just have to let nature take its course and let it wash itself away?
Well, our manager of operations, Denise, talked last night about there are some areas that they can pump out and try and drain down and that. So, yeah, they'll be working on it, and we'll just keep our fingers crossed. Keep our fingers crossed. Yes, that is very close. You know, this weekend is graduation, so that's that's an exciting time of life for the kids, and so that'll be a fun weekend for everyone there. And then right after that, we follow it in with Canada Day. So busy few weeks here, and after this last weekend, lots of people are getting out.
That's good. And well, let's just talk a bit about last weekend. 2019, the province introduced a Filipino Heritage Month in recognition of the very large Filipino community we have in the province. Yeah. In 2019, we put on our first ever event, and we saw about 1,200 people. Anticipated 5. And it just went from there. Yeah. The other thing was it was very quickly put together. It was really quite a lot of fun. Then COVID hit.
Yeah.
And now, as you say, we had it again this time to prepare, recognizing COVID wasn't going to interfere. And it was quite the day, wasn't it? The venue had to change because it had been in Riverbend Park in 2019. Now they changed to the Yellowhead, which in many ways I thought worked out very well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was very well. It was really nice to see Honorable John Ray, Honorable Eileen Clark, and Dan Mazer out as well. It was so nice to see them come out, but also how much excitement they got. You know, like that's an exciting, in that arena is very exciting place to be. And they just appreciated so much. They thought it was just wonderful. And John brought his parents along with him.
His parents out. Yes, well, he'd been out before on that minister whip round in the rural areas, and I think it dawned on him that, wow, there's a substantial population here, and he was really excited to come back.
He said he wanted to. I need to bring my parents out to see this.
Well, and Dan Mazer too. And the first one, he came out, was blown away, and said, "Oh, I've got to come to these things because I had no idea." He said, and that was right early on when he was, I think, running at that point. But it was very well attended. 2,500 people, they estimate.
Yeah.
That's big, and from all over the place.
Yeah.
It was very well. The parade was lots of fun, lots of enthusiasm. The weather held out, which was very nice. Hot, windy, but no rain.
Yeah.
And it was. You're right, and it sort of set the stage, didn't it? Because I agree totally with what you're saying. People are ready. Yep. Let's get out. Let's do the things we're normally used to doing.
Yeah. No, you're right. So it was fun day. The food was great. I always enjoy the food.
Oh yes.
And
for sure.
Yeah, no, and it was just nice to visit with people.
Makes me, when we talk about Canada Day coming, the venue will be in Riverbend Park. Yep. Now, where are we at in terms of? Because we're adding a slide to the swimming pool, correct? Or
so there has to be foundation work that has to be completed. So that some of that, Denis has had some conversations with engineers. So there's some groundwork there that has to be done. I'm not 100% sure of the timeline. I'm hoping that by this fall that we're looking at something in place, but don't quote me on that.
Well, certainly
I'm
not
100%
anticipating
sure.
this season, but if there's something in place for next season,
yes, for sure,
that'd be pretty exciting. It's nice to see.
Yeah, it definitely won't be up and going for this season at all. Yeah. So that's certainly in play there, and also we have a larger plan for there. We have to address building accessibility and parking and quite.
You're almost looking at a whole new office structure there, bathrooms, everything, really.
Yeah, a lot of changes have to be made there to make it all work. And I don't know how old the facility is myself. I guess in my 25 years it's been there, but.
Well, if my understanding is correct, back either the 70s maybe, very early 80s, and that would be before 82, part of a summer games. I think that was the mentor, and they often put money towards building certain structures or that would carry on, like tennis courts or whatever, a track. So I believe that we were hosting something here. And I could be wrong. There are people out there who would correct me, and please do so. Yeah. But in that kind of venue, that's how it came to be.
And that sounds about right. Coming from Hamiota, I do remember it had to be somewhere between 70 and 80. There was a lot of building going on during that period of time in the province.
Those kinds of things, and really help smaller communities get things like a pool that they normally wouldn't have. And so the town on occasion has done upgrades and done that kind of thing, and I mean, it's a wonderful thing to have.
Yeah, you're right.
We've had the discussion about wouldn't it be nice to have an indoor pool, but the cost of operating a pool once it's up is just not doable. It's just...
They're fantastic to have. Not in Manitoba.
Yeah, the 30, 40 below weather.
Exactly.
You'd almost have to have 2 layers.
Yeah.
A building within a building.
Yeah.
Almost.
No, the operational costs. We have looked at it in other communities, and that the operational costs are killer.
Yeah.
Just a killer.
What else came out of the budget or the meeting last night?
It was a pretty short meeting. I guess we've had, we're looking at, the province has been asking about any flood assistance for 2022. So, of course, we're still trying to deal with 2020 flooding and with Park Lake and that. But we also have had some damage on the south end of town, damage on Brown again. we're just, and there's been some of the property owners around town. We just can't take this amount of rain all at once, and it just amazes me. When in your lifetime have you ever seen flash floods, drought, and back to flood again? Like
I know.
Excess moisture. I just don't get that.
We've lost those consistent weather patterns that we became very used to because the climate was stable, and now the climate's being very unstable.
There's definitely a change. I don't know to what degree and what degree we've had been the effect on it. I don't know all that stuff. A lot of scientists do, but there's definitely something different in the weather.
Well, when you take a look at our spring, April was like it wasn't spring. May wasn't much better.
Yeah.
We sort of started to get spring in June, which is, again, just very different than what we've had. I'll jump back to, you said, yes, 2020, we lost Park Lake. How are we doing in terms of the repairs now? Because I know that that's in process.
Yeah. Well, like I was down there for the one rain that we had. I can't even remember, there's been so many, but our temporary culverts were they were running at max, and so I wasn't 100% sure whether things were going to hold out or not. But the bridge, you can see the design of the bridge. It's going to be fantastic. It's exactly what we need for down there, but the whole process has been slowed down because of all this moisture and that. And
so how big are the culverts? They're bigger than the ones that were there before, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't even want to put my toe close to it to try for depth or anything. I've never seen water going through there like that, but they're big. I don't know if they're 6 foot or what they are for culverts. They're big.
Well, really, and that's big. A lot of rain was pushed through.
Yeah.
In a short period of time.
Yeah.
So now that water just drains right through, right?
Yeah.
Whereas when it's finished, when the berms are done and all of that kind of thing, it will come to as a
what
holding
we're calling
piece,
a calming pond. So Park Lake will be a calming area.
Okay.
And
with this kind of rain, they'll still need to let a lot go through there.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why the weir itself is going to be, I think it's triple the size of what the last one was. I was going to say that somebody had mentioned that had increased in size, simply to allow a better ability to regulate the flow reasonably. Because when you're getting 3 inches in a day, in a night, something we certainly in my 40-some years up here, we've never had that before. Yeah, no, and you're right. But what compounds it is that the ground was waterlogged as it was. So water is just traveling. That's all it's doing. And we recognize the elevation coming from Spring Hill.
Yeah.
And but we also have to recognize we have many communities downstream that are impacted.
Yes.
And so definitely Park Lake. Yeah, there had been talk about just leaving it as a river through there, but we do need to continue to work with the watershed and make sure that they're to slow things down enough. And then plus, I don't know, we first moved here and had little kids and taking them out to the bird sanctuary and around Park Lake, and it's just a very pretty place.
We do not want to. I think the majority of people don't want to lose that.
No.
Take it back to where it was, fine. It's not going to be a recreational thing, fine.
Yeah.
But just seeing the bird life and now with this, at least the water levels would be higher than before.
Yeah.
And you'd get a tremendous amount of bird. Water birds on there all the time. I used to go down there and watch the birds. Migration, right?
Yeah.
Oh, especially in the fall.
Yeah.
Thousands of geese.
Absolutely.
And others,
Yeah. No, we spent a lot of time with the kids in Rotary Park. It was just, it's
a nice place to go for a barbecue, bonfire.
Absolutely. And everybody else has fond memories of it as well. So I'm glad that the province is helping us to you know, as a community, we couldn't have handled the costs to restore that. So
No,
that's good.
that's that emergency fund. Do you have any sense? I know that there were some private homeowners that had applied. Have you heard how that's going with them?
You know that no, I'm not up on that as much. Mayor McCutcheon, who was personally involved in it, probably has a better idea. So
Okay, that's
no,
right.
no,
Yes,
no,
his
no.
house is right down there.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, and I don't know from this last. I had a back injury a number of years ago, and I'm not much of a golfer, so I don't know if the golf courses. I know in 2020 they sustained quite a bit of damage. I don't know if there's been anything more.
Well, they have had some flooding.
Yeah.
I know that for a while the course wasn't open. I don't know if it's open again.
Yeah.
That recent rain would not have helped.
Yeah.
Just have to deal with things as they come.
Yeah. No, that's right. Yeah, and then you know, it seems funny we're dealing with all this water, and we're building a water reservoir.
I know, and that's coming along.
Yeah, it's progressing really well.
Now that will give us another day or another 2 days.
I think I'm not sure if this takes us from 2 to 3 days or a day and a half to 3 days, something like that. But yeah, and the other side of things is when there's a major fire, you know, the water tower can't keep up, and so we have to have a large source of water
In order to be able to deal, well, given the tremendous increase in building and homes and
Exactly.
businesses and structures in general.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see too that I never get the name of the street, but the one out by the CN property, now it's blocked off. You're going to do pickleball courts and basketball courts
Crocus,
on there?
yeah.
Yeah, Crocus.
Yeah, on Crocus. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there was always a plan for that, although you don't know in what stages things are going to go, but definitely there was hope to get a couple of basketball courts for sure. Keeping in mind we have basketball, tennis, and pickleball down at
Hillcrest?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and you know, at one time I would have thought, I never really thought about it that closely, but I would have thought we needed one central area for everything in that. But certainly from community planning, they talk about, you know, addressing different areas throughout the community, and yeah, I can see that's a much better plan. That's a good
Yeah,
good
so
idea.
we'll have some here, something there. Well, we've got
Exactly.
soccer down at the flats, and
Yep.
you know, all sorts of things like that.
Yeah.
Potholes.
Yes.
How are they doing in town?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
And,
Good. That's a political
as-
comment.
yeah.
There's a politician.
And even areas like I have never seen rain where it actually has stripped asphalt. I have never seen that. And
Where'd that happen?
that's on the south end of town,
Really?
coming down just near the end of Mountain and that. Like, it's just like, again, the amount of water that is flowing through this community and into the sewer systems and that is, you just don't look at water as being that destructive, but it is.
So our storm drainage and stuff is working all right?
It is, but as manager of operations was saying last night, we can't have more people putting into the storm system, like you know, anywhere anybody can drain out onto their front streets or that. You know, he's asking people to do that to try and take pressure off, because
Instead of doing what?
yeah, through the drainage systems, through the storm systems, or your drains and that, for
So
you
don't
know,
be
pump out water and,
okay.
and that.
Don't pump it out there. Pump it out into the
Get
street.
it onto the street and that, because
Where it
he
can flow.
told us the percentage that it was that the sewer lines were running in that, and the storm drains and that, and they're maxing out. So there's just so much water coming down and needs to go places. And I even noticed like that one rain out Rosedale Street out behind John's Electric. You know, it rained so hard it couldn't even get through the culverts to cross the tracks and head north fast enough. And I saw there was a backup. It backed up and came down by Shergrove and then split and went down Elizabeth and down Railway Street.
Wow.
And yeah, like I said, it's just, you know, the community was never built for having these kind of rains.
No, which shows you the kinds of weather patterns that we used to have.
Yeah.
We thought we were accommodating everything, and things have changed. And next year could be drought again.
Yeah.
Or it could be a reasonable rainy season, and then just a typical summer. It's so difficult to know.
Yeah. Yeah, so back to the potholes, not alluding from that, but we also need the weather to be able to do a proper pothole fill program in that. And the coal patch, which is used up until plants get operating properly in that, it helps, but it doesn't fix the problem.
How has your micro sealing project worked? Because you did that last year.
Yeah.
How do you feel about how that? We knew micro sealing is not a permanent fix, but how do you feel it went? How do you feel it went?
You know, it's hit and miss on some of the streets. Some of the streets it does exactly what it's meant to do, and the problem is trying to time it so that the street. It seems odd, but the street has to still be relatively new to be able to micro seal it and make it last longer. And it's trying to find that timing as to, you know, what shape the street's in before it gets completed. So in some spots it's done very well, in other spots it hasn't stood up. And you know, I had to ask the question last night. I've been wondering this for a long time. How old is the community? Well, I was told it was established 1883. So you've got this community that's this old, and there's still a lot of infrastructure in there, not from 1883, but from the early years and that.
Yeah, I hear about that, especially in pipes underneath.
Oh.
Still some of the really old stuff that just in places is hanging around. And that's quite amazing.
Yeah, and so as we go through, like the plan is to try and, you know, when we do a street, as in with Davidson, go through and replace water and sewer and fix the street as well, and then let it settle and repave it. But that usually is to the tune of $400,000 a block, and so we keep planning for areas. We did last year was probably the most amount of paving that has been done for years, but the prices are so incredible. So if we go out there and do, well, I guess it's what people are willing to pay for on their taxes, but it's trying to do that balance of not increasing the taxes too much, but ensuring that the community, the streets are well enough. And yeah, we've still got some work in that area.
Well, and as we grow, our needs get greater.
Yeah.
I noticed that we're going to have an increase in water bill.
Yeah.
But then more people are using water.
Yeah.
And we have families, and we have all sorts of things happening. One thing is, you don't need to be watering your garden or grass. Nature's taking care of that for you this year. Washing the car, maybe.
Yeah.
That still may be impacted, but there are those changes happening.
Yeah, and you know, I remember going, coming up 4 years ago, going on council and hearing, you know, we expect that the community has water and sewer and good streets, so it's the other things that we're looking for. So you get involved with on council, and you realize, well, you expect sewage, and what has our sewage been? $12 million upgrading that plant. You expect water, but we've just added on to the water reservoir. I think it was $5 million, and so you expect the streets to be
Yes.
Well, at 400,000 a block, the amount of money
Now,
that
a
has
block,
been
does that mean like going around a full block?
no
Or just
street.
one,
Sorry, I
one-
said a block. A street.
a
per
street per street
Yes.
on a block.
Yeah.
That's so you're
So
looking
$1 million a block.
Yeah.
But so although the expectation is, yeah, we automatically expect that, we're an extremely fast-growing community. The sewer had to be upgraded. The sewage plant had to be upgraded, and it's an expectation. But that's a lot of money for a smaller community, and $5 million just to add on to the water reservoir. Like, the costs are just phenomenal, and they're not going to be going down.
Yeah.
So we have to expect. So just maintaining a lot of the stuff that we have is a tremendous cost to the community. And our public works, great group of people. Our water management people, we've got a really good group of people that are working for us. But yeah, the continual costs are huge.
Well, and obviously it's logical that you can assume that those costs are going to be passed on to the taxpayer as well. You live here.
Somebody has to.
You
yeah.
want something, it's going to cost us more.
Yeah, yeah, and the administration has done a tremendous job on finding grants and getting help from the province, from the federal government.
Yes,
and that.
yes, I constantly hear how they've been able to access this and access that and do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
That's very important because you can't do it all in the backs of the immediate taxpayer.
no,
Now the money from the government is tax money, but it's cycling back into the community in different ways, which is good.
yeah, but then you take a look at what's happened the last 4 years. The first thing I did was had the pleasure of opening the new fire hall.
Oh, isn't that nice?
And we won't be long, and don't ask me the day, but it won't be long. We'll be looking at opening a new RCMP headquarters. The water reservoir, the bike trail, bike park, the sewer plant. We've got not our dollar, but we've got a new middle school in town, and over the last 4 years, there's just been the whole CN property.
What High Life is doing out there for those sort of, for want of a better term, sort of like bunkhouses. They're not really bunkhouses, but in the true sense of the word. But their plan, we've got more building. We've got where old Murray's used to be, Murray's Garage.
Yes.
We've got that 55 plus unit going up. We've seen a lot of building and existing buildings being made use of again. All sorts of stuff.
Yeah. And coming from a smaller community, in fact, we were just talking about this the other day. When you drive into Neepawa, you can drive into Neepawa on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
And there's still activity everywhere. Tanya and I try and do a lot of walking and that. We walk around the community and there's just, you walk by the school and the kids playing basketball there.
Yeah.
And I just think, wow, 25 years ago, we had a real vandalism problem in the community here.
Yeah.
And, I remember in particular that the one year the co-op was struggling financially, and we had $10,000 in vandalism the one year. And, we haven't had that the last number of years. And I sit back and I go, okay, but look at the outdoor recreation and the amount of basketball and the amount of soccer and the amount of ball. And
Kids can be busy again. Like when I grew up in a small community, you were always out as kids doing something.
Yeah.
There weren't as many, but there was always something for kids to do. You know, you were just out and about.
Yeah.
And it's nice to see that kind of activity going on with our young people.
Yeah, and hats off to the ball group. We were down Fair Day watching ball, and on the Friday and the Saturday, and they've done a tremendous job on facilities there.
Oh, you mean the group that works with the ball diamonds?
Yeah.
They're constantly.
Yeah.
Those are in nice shape
Absolutely.
all the time. People there are doing an excellent job.
Yeah, but when we arrived here, there was no soccer in this community because Owen White
Mhm.
and Bob Wilson and I started working on
I
trying to
remember
get
that.
soccer going. I shouldn't say that. Grant Hurl had a good little recreation
Yeah.
group going in that, and we came along and just were able to build on that. Your kids all played through that.
Oh yes,
and,
yes, yes.
Because I was coaching some of them, but you think that's just in the last 25 years, and
Yep.
the amount of basketball from our newcomers, that's incredible. So and like I said, you walk around in the evening and you hear all this excitement.
Well, it's not just that. Pickleball courts. We never had pickleball
No,
courts
that's right.
before. That's a new phenomenal. And you made a comment off air before talking about multi-generational recreation, and let's talk a little bit more about that, because before our growth spurt, we were a very we were a very stable population, and not a lot of young people, not a lot of young children, and that's changed. And so we might have had some senior stuff, but not a lot of others. So now we need to take a look at all of that, like things like pickleball court for the people who are no longer tennis inclined,
Yeah.
or maybe even basketball, but it gives a recreation. Talk a bit more about what you see as vision for that.
Well, Councillor Gerard did a great job, I'm going to say 5 or 6 years ago, coming up with a recreation plan.
Yes, I remember that
Yeah.
survey, and those people came out and
yeah.
pulled it together.
And that was great. My thoughts would be going forward, and as a group, certainly we have, as council and administration, we have a lot of thoughts going in the process. And I guess you would call it generational planning, is planning for the future. What is the future going to look like for recreation in Neepawa? Currently, I don't know exactly what that is going to look for, but definitely we have to start coming up with a plan and to identify. We already know some of the needs, and now it's coming up with a plan and how do we get there. And a lot of those things don't happen quickly. A lot of the projects that we started that have been in play since we came on council, a lot is still in play. It's amazing how some of these projects are so large that it takes many years to get things in lined up and in the queue. But so certainly for recreation, it'd be nice to see kind of a master plan someday.
Well, I think in an ideal world, we will see our young people maybe go away for education but come back here for work. In a really ideal world, we would have some training here in Neepawa, vocational training, trades.
Yes, no kidding.
I mean, there's a lot of work. There a tremendous opportunity for young people, but they have to go elsewhere. I think we kicked this around before, but the truth is we need an adult learning center, an adult education center where we could bring in those kinds of processes. I'm sure we could work out the apprenticeship issues, all of that kind of stuff. We're getting to that point now.
Yeah, I agree. And certainly there's been a lot of discussions around that. As we head towards a new hospital, making sure we have lots of trained staff for that. So yeah, there is a need. We just have to try and make sure we get see if we can get enough interest going there. But yeah, there's been a lot of discussions about that, and you're right. If we didn't have to send our young people away, that would be wonderful as well.
I think we're hitting a critical mass, starting to hit that for a community wherein we could support that. There would be enough people to attend, even the ability for some people to go back and get their GED, get their grade 12.
Yeah.
There are a number of factors in this.
Yeah.
It's quite a situation to be in.
Yeah.
Where it's sort of, oh gosh, we're losing this. It's, oh gosh, we need this. We need more.
Yeah.
We need to add on like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? There's constant problems. there's problems with growth,
Mm-hmm.
but the other problems are a lot worse.
Yes. Yeah.
These are exciting problems. These are problems that are challenging us as we're on growth mode. You look around Western Canada, and there's a lot of places that are not in growth
Yes.
mode. So
Yes.
it makes it exciting times when you're trying to plan for growth. But there are a lot of problems with growth.
Well, with any kind of challenges, there are always going to be problems. But as you say, these are good problems to have, because when you solve them, it's not a patchwork job, it's a growth job. Yeah. It's a building job. It's a community building. It's there's an awful lot going on. Now you've been in 4 years.
You bet.
What now that you've got your feet wet and you've got a sense of the dynamic, and as we've talked about, the whole element of growth in this constantly growing community, what would you like to see going forward? What are some of the things that we should be looking at? There are certain, obviously, projects to continue because we need to do that, but where do you see the community going? Where do you see the biggest need now as we grow?
Yeah. Well, certainly housing continues to be, I don't know if it's number one issue, but it's certainly up there in the top three. Housing, we have to continue to push to come up with ideas to improve housing. There's a lot going on in the background in that area. There's a lot of interested parties that are looking at doing things. So I think that there's a pretty good grasp going forward there, but definitely that has to be a real key point that council is continuing to monitor. From there, I think absolutely infrastructure, continuing to try and upgrade our plumbing and sewage throughout the community, and then from that point, fixing streets and sidewalks is an area that we have to continue focusing on as well. And you can see on Hamilton, what is that? Between First and Second and that, there's we've started some more sidewalk replacement in that.
Yes, I saw out there, and then they got terribly rained on.
Yes, a continual problem. Yes, it is. But so that has to continue to be a priority. This fall, hopefully we get some of the weather permitting, but we really need to get some additional streets fixed up or repaved this fall. So that's still a continual pressure.
So what do you see in terms of the community? Like our situation has come about because a smaller meat processing industry over a very short period of time became a very major player as a meat processing industry, hence the influx of people. But they're not the only industry. Is there a need for additional smaller industries, offshoots, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Like I'm wondering, even if the new hospital will require, that may bring in more as well.
Absolutely. And Marilyn Crew, our economic development officer, is Marilyn is top notch in that area, and so she's working on lots of different initiatives in that. But even with High Life, it wasn't that many years ago. There was a number of vacant buildings on Mountain.
Yes.
And you think it's not easy to find an empty building anymore in town. So there has been a certain amount of spin-off with the smaller, and I like, I guess I do equate it to the snowball effect. We're kind of in a snowball effect. As High Life gets bigger, there's more spin-off businesses. As the community strengthens, and a number of the retail, like the business sector, is doing very well in this community. There's going to be continued spin-off from that. As you see a successful, vibrant community, there's going to be other business looking at the community. So I think we're going to see this just continually move forward. And again, like I said, it's exciting times.
Oh, yeah. There's no question it is. When you look back, and it started with a previous council, the whole sewage approach. I just still remember Denis coming in talking about it, very, very excited and enthused by it. And I said, well, what happens if we grow? He said, you'd be throwing more discs. The technology, making use of new technology, innovative technology, which means we can handle an increase in people. Cutting down from 3 cells to 1, and doing so. Our water treatment plant, as you've talked about, the move to bring water out of the aquifer as opposed to what we were doing before. But water's an issue. Even though we're getting a ton of rain, you still need potable water, and you need water to do things. High Life, for example, is an operation that requires a tremendous amount of water in its processing. That's just the nature of the beast. There's nothing you can do about that. It's not flagrant. It's just part of what happens. So there are all sorts of challenges that continue on. Question: when you folk, this council was running before, and then everybody talked about certain things, and they felt that they were important. Your analysis of the past almost 4 years, what ones do you think that you've either dealt with or are addressing or have addressed that you wanted to over this period of time, and what haven't you been able to?
Well, the sewage plant was started, and from there, I'll give administration the credit. They came up with the idea of the bike park, and we all jumped behind that and saw, a real advantage to that.
Yes.
Tanya and I love that. We walk out through. That's part of our walk, is to go out and walk around the perimeter of the bike park, and so that was exciting to see completed. The sewage plant itself, that's been a little slower with some of the government programs. We appreciate what has been happening in that, but it's we're not complete, and we've gone through 4 years. The water reservoir, that one will be completed, but now we're looking again at putting another well site in, not to draw more water out of the aquifer, but just to ensure that we have 3 different operating sites, so that
if one goes down, you've got to back up. It's not long before you can get water again.
And our community, like as we were trying to do the changeover with the reservoir, our community goes through a lot of water. And even when everybody's asked to cut back, we still go through a lot of water. So if all of a sudden there was no water, that is a huge, serious plan. So again, that's futuristic planning. That will occur in the next year or 2, sort of thing. And the fire hall was already in the process. And that's one thing that I want to comment on. Previous councils have done a tremendous job setting the groundwork in that. I don't think, I think it would be far stretched in Manitoba to find a council that has opened a fire hall, opened a RCMP headquarters, opened a new middle school, preparing for a new hospital. Like, in one term, that's where does that happen? When you put it that way, that's
where
does that happen?
That's
So and you know what? That was groundwork that has been laid for years, and it
finally bore fruit.
Yeah, exactly. And so that all comes at a similar time, and we get the advantage of reaping the rewards of that. So then it's just making sure, okay, are we planning enough for the future?
Well, and that's a good point, because I think actually this council has been very consistent in terms of its recognition of what previous councils have done, laying groundwork. But you ask a very good question. So how are you looking at preparing for the future? What are Let's talk about that a bit. What are you seeing as your council's vision with regards to the future?
Yeah, I think more in play is we have a lot of meetings looking at what are going to be some of the roadblocks in that going into the future, and how do we fix some of those areas. So there's a lot of discussion, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this 4 years. We have a tremendous group. Our councillors are very respectful, and it's been a real positive group to work with in that. And so we can do a lot of brainstorming. Our administration staff have a very good handle on the community, and are continually sourcing us with ideas. Here's what we're looking at for problems into the future. So as to come out with real firm plans, I wouldn't want to say that. I would say that there is an awful lot of prep work being done for the future, and then we have to look at trying to solidify plans. And something as simple as upgrading the pool area, and that all of a sudden you start adding buildings and adding a slide and adding parking, and that these become hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of projects and that. So you can't race into this stuff either, or somebody's going to pay, and that goes on to the taxes.
I hear you, but it's continually having a vision going. You've got to move forward. Yeah. We're not done.
No,
you're never done.
Yeah, this is a very good visionary group, and Blake has done a great job keeping us all on track too.
Well, the thing I keep hearing mentioning, and everybody who's been here has made reference to the relationship between the staff. Because in the process, the only employee the town has is the chief administrative officer, right?
Yeah.
Then the others become employees under that, but you talk consistently about the work that's done there.
Yeah.
The recognition that you may have the ideas and say, yes, let's go for it, but somebody has to operationalize it.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. And our administrative staff are very strong, work extremely well together, and work well with council. So when you got everybody working and thinking the same direction, then you can start building plans and coming up with ideas and then building plans. When you're fighting internally or between council and admin and that, things slow down and not as much as will get done. So like I said, it's the community's growing fast, so you need a really strong council and administration. You need a strong public works, water resource group, and right now we're very fortunate to have that.
That's good. Knowing that the elections are coming up in the fall, what would be your advice to anybody who's considering running? Because given what's happened, I'm sure there's going to be a number of people who might be interested. What did you encounter that you hadn't anticipated?
Well,
because it was your first term, you were,
first term,
eager, open.
Yep. First thing right off the bat is I realized that I never watched. Well, first of all, I have Shaw TV, so I don't have NEC TV. So I never watched council meetings. I wasn't involved with the council the same. And I'll never forget standing up there in Arts Forward and them talking about the different versions of change up at the cemetery, and I had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. So the first question is, what version would you go with? And I made a little joke, well, I like the version where I can walk in, enjoy the place, and walk out. I knew that wasn't what they were asking, but so going in there, I had no idea. But the big thing for other people, I would say it is you learn a lot about teamwork. You learn about a lot of problems that can that a community can encounter, and you learn that how to work together with people, and it's exciting. I would just encourage anyone to go look at it.
What have you found in your time there? How much response or feedback do you get from the community, whether it's in terms of complaining about something or positive feedback? Is there much of that?
Well, people are will constantly be bringing up suggestions. I won't say a lot of complaints. We've got a respectable community in that, but yeah, there are areas that we've had challenges with plug sewers and that, trying to make sure we're not having grease in the sewers, things like that. The communication element, Jody has done a great job on getting information out in the water statements on the website. So that constant communication, I think, has very much improved. Council chats like this, people feel very comfortable to come up to any one of the councillors and talk about issues and that.
That's good, because it suggests to me that people are feeling part of a community. Yeah. And that we're all part of the community. It's not just councillors, it's not just the taxpayers, it's everybody. And that's a testament, I think, to communication. I know that was one of the platforms that everybody seemed to run on in the last one, was improving the lines of communication with the community. Would you say that you've gone a long way to improving that?
I feel that there has been. Now, is there still areas that can improve on that? Yeah, there is. On anything, but I think that there has been advancement in that area, and then, I look back at the success of the last 4 years and say, well, this is a group that is moving forward.
Good. Well, we've got just a short amount of time left, and I'm going to just open it up to you. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Oh, well, that puts me on the spot. I don't know a whole lot. I talked about, the communities around, surrounding communities and that we're lucky that both Minnedosa and Gladstone are doing well. I think there's a lot of spin-off from the community of Neepawa. And I like, for myself, it's just, we talked at I talked at the Heritage Day that it's just such a vibrant community. It's a good, safe community for families to grow. Like, Neepawa is really quite a community. When I came here, I was told that the last many general managers had retired here and that I would retire here. I've told you this story before. Yes. And I said, no, not a chance. Yeah. I think I was 33 at the time, and I said, no, not a chance. I'll be here for a couple of years and then move on. It's hard to leave this community. It's a great community. So for myself, this has been a good place for raising a family, and it continues to. Even, nobody has any fear walking around this community at dusk, and Tanya and I do
hear that often, and from our newcomers as well. Yeah. That everybody feels it's safe. Yeah. It's interesting. You should comment. I mean, we came 40 years ago for a very short period of time, and it turns out
look what happened.
Short is a relative definition.
Exactly.
But the truth is that we've seen a tremendous change in that time.
Yeah.
And you're right about the safety. That's a consistent comment, which isn't that nice to hear?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, we have other places in Manitoba not so safe.
Oh, that's not to say that there aren't things going on here.
Yep.
But
absolutely,
in
no
terms
place
of
is
personal
perfect.
safety.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of change when you take a look from what it was for generations. Those disappeared, and new things have come in, which has been really kind of exciting. That gap in between where, as you said, there were open storefronts for years.
Yeah.
Blank places, and suddenly, boom.
Yeah. No, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just, it hasn't just been council. You know, we just lost Ivan Trail. And,
Gosh,
you know,
yes.
I have admired him so much over the years in that. And you know, we have a lot of community leaders like that that are in place now, but we definitely need to recognize the ones that we've lost as well.
Yes. I mean, this particular entity, this television station, owes so much to Ivan's passion and dedication and commitment and energy to bring it to where it is now. I mean, he was through the lean years. He kept this going. Quite a fascinating, entertaining, interesting man, but the passion came through all the time.
Well, when I would find 40 below and things were a little slow downtown in the old store, I always made sure I made my way over to the bookstore because I could always be entertained over there for a half hour.
Wasn't that a small town experience, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, the local bookstore where you could buy eggs and you get all sorts of stuff there. It was just so funny.
Yeah.
Yes, we definitely have lost a real community player, a real entity, a real presence here.
Yeah, that is a hole to fill.
Yeah, it left a legacy behind. So, any last words? Do you have another? Is this your last council meeting till September?
No, we have one in July, one in August.
Oh, okay.
And then we're back in full for September, and then October election time again.
Election. Gosh, it's moving so quickly.
Yeah.
I'm still remembering shoveling snow at Christmas, and suddenly we're here.
Yeah, but we were shoveling snow not that long ago
either. Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to thank you all for watching. A couple of things. Remember, Canada Day is going on once again. It'll be at Riverbend. It's an exciting agenda of events, culminating in our annual fireworks display. So please keep that in line. Remember, it's the middle of the week this year, isn't it?
Friday, I think.
It's Friday, long weekend. Enjoy it. And I've been in conversation with our Deputy Mayor, Brian Hedley, and I'm told that I need to sort of maybe extend this a bit more. A couple of minutes. Got anything else you want to say before we go?
Well, Mayor McCutcheon is out in Kelowna right now, and he seems to enjoy doing this in front of the camera a little bit more than I do. So he could have easily been here instead, but no, I don't mind filling in. And just again, as this fall's elections start rolling around, it's not just council, there's also for the school divisions and that, the school boards. So just encourage people to get out there and take a look at becoming a very intricate part of the community.
And if you're not looking to put your name forward, come out and hear the people who have put their names forward. Ask the questions. Voice your opinions about what you think is needed in this community. Because whoever you elect are the individuals who are going to go forward and try and make that vision or those visions happen. So not just simply if you want to run, but if you're interested just listening to what they have to say. And it's a time for the public to be able to directly ask questions and express what their thoughts are, what they feel they need, all of that kind of thing. So I guess on that note, we'll sort of bring it to a final close. And thank you for watching. Have a great summer, everybody. And please, if you're here, take part in the Canada celebrations here in Neepawa. If you're somewhere else, take place in the Canada celebrations wherever you are. So have a good summer, everybody. For our Deputy Mayor, Brian Hedley, and myself, Don Walmsley, we're wishing you a very great summer and look forward to seeing you again on this station in the fall. Bye for now.